talk a little bit, you said you were doing it on the side. There's so many women that have that entrepreneurial mindset, but are kind of stuck in that corporate world, and they wonder, can I make it happen? Can I do it? I've got kids, I've got this, I've got that. And there's never enough time in the day. So how did you really juggle the two and determine, hey, if this is a priority, I need to do X, Y, and Z? Talk a little bit about that in your mind of how you made that decision.
Back then, and now we're going back, 14, 15 years now. So I'm 41 years old. We started our business initially in 2011 on the side of our full-time jobs. And it wasn't until 2012 that we actually left our corporate jobs to start our business full time. So the one thing I'll share is Courtney and I were very young when we first started. We were in our early 20s. We did not have a lot of responsibility. I was not married at the time, did not have a child. And we had what felt like to us like all the time in the world to just work really hard during the day at our corporate job and then stay up until midnight every night and be working on the business on the side. And that's why I always share with people, and we have a lot of women in our community that are working full time and starting their business on the side and are part of our community to learn how to manage and do it all and eventually leave. Everyone's circumstances are different, and that's okay. And you have to look at what your specific circumstance is and build a plan. Like if you want to leave your corporate job, build a plan that could work for you. Because, again, Courtney and I had the luxury, I guess, or the ability back then of having so much time. But that's not the reality for a lot of people who are leaving the corporate world and might have a family and you need income coming in and you can't leave your corporate job until you're able to replace that income. So it might take a bit longer to do. And that's okay. But the best thing you can do is just start to make a plan to get towards that end result that you want. Because if it's just chaos and you don't really have a plan to get where you want to be, you're never going to get there. But once you start writing it down and seeing what's working, what's not working, you can pivot your plan based on your specific circumstance, then you'll be able to go a lot further faster.
That's so interesting. I always tell people, ignorance is bliss. Sometimes, when you're young, you don't realize what you're doing and you don't have those responsibilities.
Yes.
But as we get older, I feel like we get a little bit less, we're more risk adverse, let's just say. And so if we're more risk adverse, but then you see more women really figuring out who they are later in life and saying, hey, I really want to do this because this is what I'm meant to do. And so what advice do you give those women that are a little bit older, the ones that are in your league now? Yeah. What advice do you give them if they're thinking about this, but yet they still are kind of on the fence of, I don't know if I can do it or not. And just, they're trying to figure that out. What advice do you give them?
Yeah, well, it's actually one of the reasons why we created our Entrepreneurs Elite community. And it was actually back in, 2020 when the pandemic first started, we were getting these messages from women in the corporate world who lost their job and were like, I need to start a business, or women who needed to really pivot because now they're trying to raise their family, work a corporate job from home. And they were like, this is not doable. How can I actually start something? So it's one of the reasons why we started our community, because when you're able to have that network and have people to talk to and come together and problem solve, and you're not alone, it makes everything so much easier. So my first piece of advice is you're not alone. So surround yourself with other people who are going through something similar to you, and surround yourself with other people who've already done it so you can learn from them, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. People have left the corporate world to start their own business for many, many years. So learn from people who have already done it, what worked, what didn't work, and have a community that you can talk to really share ideas and get advice and feel like you have that support system. My best advice is don't try to do it alone and by yourself, because you don't have to. You don't have to navigate anything alone in life and business. That is the whole point of community and bringing people together who can share and help each other.